How's it going? Welcome back to my channel, Gardening in Cold Spring Harbor. I hope all of you are staying safe and warm. As a flower fanatic, African violets happen to be one of my most favorite flowers to have and to grow in my home. Regardless of the season of the year, I always have at least a few African violet varieties in full bloom in my home. In today's video, I'm going to cover 10 most common reasons why your African violet might not bloom for you. How you can go from this to this in a few easy, proven steps. Remember, gardening is not magic and changes will take some time. But if you follow my easy yet proven gardening steps, you're guaranteed to have these beautiful blooms all year long. So for those of you looking for that online gardening channel, which offers tips, tricks, easy, proven gardening advice to take your home gardens to that next level, please don't go anywhere, guys. Stick around with me today. Just go below this video and click the subscribe button. If you enjoy the content of my videos, if you find my gardening videos to be useful, helpful, informative, and absolutely anyway, don't forget to click the bell icon as well. Now come with me. Let's get gardening. Let's dive right in and talk about that first most common reason as to why your African violet might not be blooming for you. The first reason is either too little or too much sun exposure. African violets do need quite a lot of sunlight exposure, but not too intense. Ideal conditions for growing African violets is exposure to morning and or afternoon sunlight. The key here is not to expose your African violet to too much heat or very bright direct sunlight exposure. You will know if your African violet was exposed to too much sunlight because the foliage or the leaves of your African violet will start to change color. They will look more bleached. You will know that your African violet is not exposed to enough sunlight because the leaves or the foliage of your African violet will start to become too stretched and droopy. Also, you will not be seeing blooms for 2 to 3 months at a time. If that's the case, then you're not exposing your African violet plant to enough sunlight. The second most common reason as to why your African violet might not be blooming for you is either underwatering your plant or overwatering your plant. African violets require moderate, consistent watering. If you overwater your African violets, their root system will rot. If you underwater your African violet, not only is the foliage going to start to get soggy and droopy, you're also going to experience flower bud drop. You should check on the moisture content consistently. One easy way to do so is to use your index finger and to stick it 1 to 2 inches below the soil surface to check for the moisture. If you're not feeling any moisture, that means it's time to rewater. When watering, make sure that you turn your plant 360 degrees around as you are watering to make sure that you water the entire root system of your plant evenly. Also, make sure that your planting container will have lots and lots of drainage holes because you will make sure that any and all of excessive moisture will drain out. If your plant is large, bulky and dense, such as this one, and it's rather uncomfortable to water from above, you can water from below using a saucer. All you have to do is pour the water directly into the planting saucer. Place your African violet plant on top and let it sit for about 30 minutes. Whatever moisture or liquid will not absorb into the soil after 30 minutes, you will have to spill out into the sink. The third reason as to why your African violets might not be blooming is incorrect humidity levels. Ideally, when you grow African violets inside indoors, they prefer humidity levels of 40 to 50%. Make sure you watch out for the dry air, which is caused by indoor heating systems. So try to keep your African violets away from radiators. That fourth most common reason why our African violets might not bloom for us as we want them to is lack of nutrients or abundant amount of nutrients. So whether we under fertilize or over fertilize our African violet plant, formation of flower buds and blooms do take a lot of energy. So a decent, reasonable amount of water-soluble fertilizer during each watering is ideal. I prefer to use Jack's Blossom Booster Fertilizer, which has an NPK of 10 to 30 to 2. It also comes with a very handy measuring spoon. If you are keeping your African violets inside indoors, you should be using 1/4 teaspoon of Blossom Booster Fertilizer per 1 gallon of water. I like to mix it thoroughly and apply to each and every single one of my African violets every time I water them. That most common reason number 5 is wrong pH level of the soil. The soil pH level has a direct relation to how well the plant's root system can absorb all of the available nutrients that are within the soil. If the soil pH is either too low or too high for the plant which you're growing, the root system will not be able to uptake all of the available nutrients that are within the soil. Ideal pH level for growing African violets is 6.8. One way to make sure that you have that perfect pH level is to make sure that you're planting and growing your African violets in correct potting medium. Reason number 6 is wrong growing medium. African violets prefer to grow in very loose, airy, well-draining soil, not a potting medium which is too tight, too compact. One way to check if your African violet is growing the correct potting medium or growing medium is to stick your index finger into the soil, and if it loosely, easily goes all the way at least into the middle of the container, you know that that potting medium is airy, loose, and very well draining. I personally prefer to plant and grow my African violets in the potting medium, which is specifically formulated for growing African violets. Most common ingredients in the potting medium for African violets are sphagnum peat moss, vermiculite, and or perlite. Reason number 7 why your African violets might look like this rather than this is inappropriate air temperatures. During the daytime, your African violet should be exposed to air temperatures between 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. That's equivalent to roughly 21 to 27 degrees Celsius. During nighttime, your African violet should be exposed to temperatures of 65 to roughly 75 degrees Fahrenheit. That's equivalent to 18 to 21 degrees Celsius. And the soil temperature of your African violet should always be between 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Moving along rather quickly, guys, that most common reason number 8 as to why your African violets might not be blooming for you with these gorgeous bright blooms is because you have planted or grown your African violets in a wrong sized container. African violets do like to feel tight and snug around their root system. This helps prevent excess moisture from entering the plant's root system. The African violet's root system is always 1/3 smaller than the entire diameter of your plant. So say your entire diameter of your foliage is 6 inches in length, which would mean that your plant's root system is only 2 inches wide. So what is the correct size for that pot or container in that instance? If the diameter of your entire plant is 6 inches and your root system is only 2 inches, you will need to plant it in a pot which will be 4 inches wide in diameter. So 2 times, no more than twice the size of your plant's root system. Reason number 9 is pest or disease. It's quite easy to tell if your African violet plant has been exposed to either pests or disease. Pests we could see with our naked eye. And if your African violet plant has been exposed to disease, it will start to look unwell and sick. One example of possible disease is blossom blight or powdery mildew. Soil mealybugs do like to attack our African violet plants, so we do have to keep an eye on those as well. That reason number 10, last but definitely not least, is genetics. Not all African violets are built the same. Some produce abundant, large blooms every few weeks, no matter what conditions we expose our plant to. And some varieties, no matter what we do, even if we follow every single one of the steps that we spoke about today, will just never bloom for us. And that is okay. However, if you purchase the African violet and it already had blooms, there's a very high chance that will bloom for you again. Just be very aware of what African violet variety you are purchasing. Do some research before you pay the money and bring that variety into your home. One more very easy yet very important tip I want to share with you guys when it comes to African violet blooms is if you want to have larger, brighter, bolder blooms, you should always keep a close eye on spent or dead blossoms. Every time you see even one blossom that has faded, that is done blooming, you always want to make sure that you pinch it off. By pinching off dead or spent blooms, you're encouraging your mother plant to put on more flower buds and to have larger, brighter, bolder blooms. This is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for joining me here today in my home garden in Long Island, New York, gardening zone 7A. In today's video, we covered 10 most common reasons why African violets do not bloom for us as they should. If you follow these 10 easy yet proven tips, you can go from this to this in a matter of a few short weeks. If you enjoyed the content of this video, don't be shy, guys. Show me that support by clicking thumbs up. It's super easy for you to do, yet it's super pleasing and rewarding to me. Please take the time to leave your comments in the comment section below as well. Lately, many more of you have been writing to me, sharing your useful, helpful gardening tips with me, which I appreciate very much. You are all asking for gardening tips and advice from me, and I take the time to read each and every single one of your comments, and I personally respond to each and every single one of you. For those of you who have been considering yet haven't subscribed to my gardening channel, Gardening Cold Spring Harbor, please do not wait any longer, guys. Do so right now by going below this video and clicking the subscribe button. If you click the bell icon below as well, YouTube will send you notifications each time I'll upload a new video. Stay healthy, happy, be well, each and every single one of you. Don't forget to enjoy these cozy fall days with your family and your loved ones. And as I always like to say at the end of each and every single one of my videos, happy gardening, guys, and I'll see you again in my upcoming videos. Bye, guys.